happy with the results, and a lot of people were happy with what they read. However, right after doing that ethnography, I got a very problematic comment from somebody, a game developer, who said something along the lines of, I would love it if there was more diversity in games. I would love to see studios with not just white dudes. And I asked him, and he was a white dude, are you thinking of hiring differently, maybe? And he goes, oh, well, I like the way my company is right now, and it would be a bit difficult to add different people. And my first thought was, damn, that is so lazy. You are so lazy to think that it would be so much more difficult to have a different person on your team. So when I was asked to come here and talk just for a little bit, I thought I would talk to you guys about cultural competency. If you don't have a diverse team, how do you think your game is ever going to be any different than games that exist today? How are we going to tell different types of narratives and stories with different cultures if you don't have different types of people on your team? Having women on your team can make a huge difference to what you put in there, because it will be a voice to say, that's not okay, and it's the same thing with any other type of person. I am a fat, queer, mixed-race lady. I will never see myself as a protagonist. That kind of sucks. One day it would be really freaking nice. So what I want to talk to you is about how you must think about including different narratives in your game. Even if you yourself have a team, or you alone are a white male or a white female and want to include another culture, you have to be extremely careful. You can't be lazy. So with this degree in intercultural relations, I learned a lot of stuff about how to talk to people, about, okay, so you're working with a dude from Brazil, how should you think differently? And I really hated that, and I stayed away from it. And a lot of concepts to me seemed kind of racist in nature. So I stayed with cultural competency, which means, in my own words, the ability to be yourself while still being immersed in another culture. You're not appropriating, you're not taking it as yourself, you're experiencing it and using it in a thoughtful way in the work that you are doing. So, for example, Prince of Persia does it really badly. The cel-shaded version has some really cool Zoroastrian influence, and yet they made the guy who played Nathan Drake play a Persian man. It's like Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie. It's kind of ridiculous. So you need to think very carefully about all the decisions that you are making, and I implore you all to think very carefully. If you think, wow, mosques are so beautiful, I love this style, I'm going to use the style of a mosque in a game. If you don't see the problem with that, you need to start asking some serious questions. So I'm going to, I would love to talk to you for more than a few minutes about this. I really would. So I'm going to leave you guys with 2 pieces of advice. If you are someone and you want to use a different culture, first of all, please use gatekeepers. Whether it's a friend or someone you're going to hire as a consultant, if you want to use a mosque in a game, please make sure you talk to a Muslim first. Basically, that's the first advice. Secondly, if you want to use a different culture, ask yourself specifically why. Is it the visuals that you find beautiful? Do you watch Miyazaki and think, wow, I like Japan. I would do something about that. Please, no, don't do that. Okay, but you have to ask yourself, why? Is it just the visual? Are you going to create a landscape and a world based on something that you think is pretty without actually acknowledging that there are people who live in that landscape that you are trying to take from? How can you do that respectfully? The only way you can do it is by talking to people of that culture and by doing your research. If you can research images and you can read about architecture, you can read about the culture that you're trying to take from. And it doesn't have to be a stealing. It can be an agreement. It can be something more of an immersion. And I really hope to see more different types of stories done in this way. So I know it's pretty short, but that's all I really have to say tonight.